While the Omicron variant is spreading across the tri state, many residents are wondering, when will the pandemic end? Experts say COVID 19 will eventually become endemic.
Endemic is the situation where a virus is in the population all the time and doesn't cause major problems most of the time.
The definition really of endemicity is actually that it will come back yearly. When it becomes endemic, though, it shouldn't affect a large proportion of the population.
But the world may not know exactly when the pandemic will become endemic without hindsight, possibly taking a matter of years.
That we will really never know that until what happens next year, next winter. If we will see a spike, but if the spike is a little flatter than it is now, then that would be where we can actually make a statement saying, well, it's now endemic. We have to learn to live with it, right? So when we have surges like this, I'm not necessarily advocating lockdowns again or shutting down businesses, but I think people just do need to be careful.
For those who are infected by Omicron, Dr. Steinberg says it may add extra immunity to that variant.
In fact, for people that have been immunized and who now get the Omicron on top of the vaccine, it may act like a booster.
Meanwhile, pharmaceutical giant Moderna is working on an Omicron-specific booster.
As you know, we're working very actively on an Omicron-specific vaccine as a booster. That should be in the clinic very soon. And we are discussing with public health leaders around the world to decide what do we think is the best strategy for a potential booster for the fall of 2022.
On one hand, this pathogen can be mutating to become more transmissible and thus less severe in order to infect more hosts without killing them to repeat the virus replicating cycle. However, some researchers believe it is still too early to tell. But what is more certain is the possibility of seeing more variants in the future.
I suspect that we're going to have several years, but what I'm hoping is that they will come and go quickly. They might give us big upticks in positivity, but they won't necessarily give us a lot of people being hospitalized and dying.
I hate that word mild, but it is becoming less severe, I'll say it that way. But that being said, it's still causing quite an impact. We're still seeing people hospitalized, especially, again, unvaccinated individuals. But this is a good sign, I think, that at least strains are starting to move in that direction of not as deadly. Fingers crossed.